What's going on, fishy friends? I'm excited tonight to have the Pickerel report with Eddie Weber, the Severn River angler. That's going to be awesome in just a second. But before we get there, we are doing a prize for all four of our fishing reports tonight. Tonight we're doing the Pickerel report, the Snakehead report, a Southeast Florida report, and a Lower Chesapeake Bay report tonight. And for all four, for question of the night, you will have the opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate that can be redeemed at any of the Optical Galleria and Optical Galleria stores in Centerville, Ocean City, and Easton. That's the Optical Galleria that carries Hook Optics. So an Optical Galleria, Hook Optics are the same folks. So you'd have a $25 gift certificate to spend towards your Hook Optics. And guys, I can't tell you enough. I talked to Walleye Pete just either yesterday or the day before. He called me just to tell me how much he loves his Hook Optics. So that's going to be an awesome prize for the evening. What else do we have? I think that's pretty much it for the night. I don't want to beat you guys over the head too much with our premium options, but maybe I'll talk about that later on for some of the other fishing reports. But I can tell Eddie's doing something else in the background, so I'm going to bring him in just so he's caught off guard. What's going on, buddy?
I heard you.
Do you hear me well? Because this is a whole new setup.
I like it. It's good. It's good. Yes.
Good stuff. You are. You look like you got a whole new setup. It's like your fishing man cave.
Yeah, I'm in the garage today. Kind of HOCB South right now. Just got some family over, so ran over to the garage instead.
It looks like you might be a fan of Z-Man.
I am a little bit. Now that's about a tenth of what I've got. I've got half my stuff over here in the.
I expected as much, Eddie. I mean,
yeah.
In order to be as mentally ill about fishing as I know that you and I both are, that's not nearly enough soft plastics.
Oh no way.
You can never
my
have
wife's
enough.
always like, she's like, "What how do you need any more?" I'm like, do you want me to explain what each of these uses? I can't use that 10-inch BKD for pickerel. You got to be prepared.
There's so many memes out there about the wife saying, "Do you need more fishing stuff?" And then some sort of snarky response. You ought to just be able to, have one on your phone and be like, whoosh.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Always ready. But let's do the 2-minute bite. So what's biting? I mean, I hope we're still talking about pickerel. What's biting? Yep. What are you using, and what's the technique?
Yep, absolutely. So pickerel are definitely still biting. It's a little hit or miss. I've gotten some reports on them being them spawning. So this is about that time. The weather being up and down can be good and bad for them. It can kind of throw them into a weird funk with they like a little more steady weather, but you can still find some you can still find some really good days out there. And if you track the CCA tournament, or I was doing the River Runners tournament on the shore, and there were some big fish caught at the end of February. Some 28s, 28.
There were 28 plus.
Quarter, yeah, like crazy fish. So there's definitely still fish to be caught out there, and jerk baits, kind of more of the usual stuff. With the water actually getting a little warmer with the warmer weather, or be a little more active. You might be able to get them on more paddle tails rather than jerk baits. We're gonna pause in a few seconds and stuff like that. But small paddle tails, jerk baits are going to be the go-to for sure.
So no silence. I'm not giving away a date with myself. I'm saving that for when when I really feel like you guys need it.
That's right. That's right.
But I can't give away the good stuff just on any night. I can't waste that on Eddie Weber.
That's right. That's
Come on. Right. I think I've talked to you about it before, and what I was saying is like I like these small X wraps. Well, I was at a tackle shop recently, and I finally put a name to that. It's an X Wrap 8.
Yes.
These little ones. What do you think about those? Because that looks like it should be deadly. I've caught a lot of pickerel on myself.
Yes. I like those 8s. The little smaller profile. It's like 3 1/4 maybe inches or something like that. But a lot of guys. So those are the X Wraps. They're a little thinner profile.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the Shadow Wrap, which is a little thicker profile, more of a shad profile that's been pretty popular for if you see shad in the river. They were definitely chasing them late January through February. So basically the same thing, but just a little thicker profile. I like the X Wraps because those suspend rather than do a slow sink or a slow rise. Some of the Shadow Wraps will actually do a slow rise, which I don't find as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the suspending for sure.
Yeah, it's one thing that I've learned in all of our conversations of doing these reports is that it seems like the less you can do, the better. I mean, if you can keep a bait right in that strike zone, you're doing great. You don't have to do a whole lot of, twitching or giving it action or anything. If you can put a bait and have it kind of sit in that strike zone, you're off to a good start.
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No, it's just a little bit of COVID. That's all right.
Yeah, that's all right. It's getting over the flu, actually. It is what it is.
Yeah. We do have some questions coming in, but real quick, I want to ask because I don't know if we've talked about this online, but I know we have offline where, you're the Seven River angler, you're the man, but you don't always fish the Seven River.
Yeah.
And year to year, the pickerel bite has been better on certain rivers where it's not on others. Has the Severn River been your go-to river this year for pickerel?
It's still been my go-to up until probably January. It really fell off in January, and the quantity was still pretty good. I had really, really high hopes for the Severn this year. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as killer as I thought it would be. And that's not just me. That was, I have a bunch of buddies that fish it pretty religiously through the winter. And we were expecting, we caught a lot of 22s and 23s last year in the Severn. And we were really hoping for that, breakout 24, 25 being a standard easy, catch a 24 all the time just because of the class. But that wasn't the case. And, we were hoping for maybe a 26 even mixed in there. But we still found a lot of 22s, 23s. But it was a grind to find that 24. I don't think I didn't get a report of any of my buddies catching a 25 in the Severn this year. I think the biggest might have been a 24 and a half, 24 3/4. When we caught a couple 25 and a half plus last year. So it just,
I saw a couple of big ones, but they're such masters at throwing the hook. I've never had a season of fishing for something where I miss so many fish. I'm usually, whether it's luck or whatever, I'm actually usually pretty good. Right. I have a fish hooked, like it's game over. It's a wrap.
I know they are weird. I totally agree because they throw a lot of hooks. That's why I don't really mess with them. I get them right to the boat. I keep that line tight. I keep my drag tight, and I get them right to the boat, right to the net because I know as soon as they take a run, a one jump out of the water, they're throwing that hook.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. And they have these like soft yet really hard mouths, right? They're very bony mouth where you can get it in well, but you puncture that skin also, so you don't really get that like really good hook set sometimes. Sometimes it's just hanging on by a thread once you get them in the boat.
Yeah, that's how I felt. We have some questions rolling in.
And then I find that 95% of the time when I net them, get them in the boat, they spit the hook. I almost never have to take it out if it's in the net. They've always spit the hook.
They're already loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens a lot with snakehead as well. You pull the snakehead in the boat and you're like, oh, it's not hooked.
Right. Yeah.
Kevin Williams asks, what is your approach for the dreaded low tide pickerel bite? Brother Kevin, I'm gonna let Eddie answer this one because I have no answer.
It's brutal, man. Yeah,
it's brutal. He says I picked up a couple jigging deep holes for perch, but felt I got lucky. Yeah, Kevin, you're not here to hear my answers, but I'll say I've seen the tide really low and just pretty much given up immediately. But
I kind of agree. I hate to say it, but you did get lucky. One thing, and you would kind of think the water flowing out, they'd be in those deeper holes, kind of more concentrated. But I find that I don't know if they just go deep and they just chill because the water's so low. I honestly don't have the answer to that because I don't do very well on low tides. I know a lot of buddies that are like, man, I tried it and it's just tough. I check the weather a lot in the winter when it's windy, and especially the wind direction. So if it's blowing, 10 plus out of the river, this next couple of days could be pretty brutal because the low tide is just going to be so low that they just don't bite, or it's really tough to find them.
Yeah, it's certainly tough. I mean, you're already dealing with a lot of challenging things with a winter fishery. You're dealing with weather, oftentimes wind, but those dramatic low tides are really, really tough.
Yeah, and I think
this year we got red tide.
Right. Yeah, and the red tides we struggle with real bad. I think that was a real bad struggle for the Severn, especially, and some upper Bay rivers. But talking about the low tides some more, they love to be around structure and ambush things to feed. So when it's a real low tide and they can't be in those structure areas, ambush and stuff, and they're way out, just chilling on deep holes, it's just out of their nature to feed in that way, I think. So they're just much less comfortable feeding in those times than when it's a little higher and they have some structure to hide behind.
Well, I guess it would be a good time to utilize your side imaging, right? Because you might be able to find some deeper structure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. A lot of times I go around and I do mental notes or take pictures of structure out of the water for rock fishing in the spring or in the fall. Yeah. Just to take mental notes of those. Yeah, for sure.
MR Johnson asked, what color X-Wraps do you recommend?
So my top is the yellow perch color. And then my second would be white.
Glass Ghost, right?
Yep. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I like that Glass Ghost one as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned the CCA tournament. How you doing in that one, brother?
So just finished up. I think I finished 15th or so. Just couldn't break that 24 and a half.
15th nowadays for that tournament isn't bad because, I mean, how many guys fished it this year? It was like,
yeah, there was close to 100. I think something like that. I mean, there were, I think maybe 700 or 800 fish entered. I mean, crazy numbers, which is amazing. It's such a fun tournament. It's a grind. It's November through February. And I wish I could have fished a little bit more in February and found those bigger fish. I lost some bigger fish in some northern rivers, but next year again.
Well, I mean, speaking of next year, we've really enjoyed having you, but I think we're probably going to have to go with the top 5 guy.
Yeah, you got to get a top 5, top 10 for sure. Believe me, I'm kicking myself. I wanted that top 10 real bad.
Right. This doesn't stand for top 15 contenders.
That's right. That's right.
But let's talk about some of the more practical parts. We talked about the challenges of fishing in the winter. You got weather, low tides. Um, I think a lot of people don't like to fish for pickerel during the winter just because it's uncomfortable to be out there and be cold.
Yeah.
What are some tricks that you've learned, to keep your hands warm, to keep your feet warm, to keep your face warm?
Yeah. No, great question. So, like hands and feet, like you said, are the things that'll bring you in first. So you really got to make sure you got some really good socks, some nice boots, some nice Columbia boots. You don't do it crazy on
or something. What's up?
Yeah.
Columbia.
Yeah. I just got some, you just got to get some nice wool socks, some solid hand warmers, and don't skimp on those. I put hand warmer. I have fleece line pants. I haven't done like the bibs yet, but fleece line pants. I put hand warmers in my pockets, like every pocket I can. Some good quality gloves. I love the like the wool kind of cut off finger gloves, if you can. And yeah, you just some other I've posted this on my Instagram a bunch, but like the AFCO Reaper hoodie with the kind of neck guard. You just got you got to be prepared. Winter, it's not fun if you're cold out there, but if you're prepared and you take the extra steps to just keep yourself warm, keep yourself comfortable, man, there's nothing better than winter fishing because there is no one out there.
Yeah, no, it's great, but I mean, it's really, a big part of the game is staying comfortable.
Yeah.
If your hands are cold, if your feet are cold, you're not really focused on fishing as much as you might be. You're probably thinking about, getting inside the warm house again and
that's right.
And getting away from that cold water.
Yeah.
Looks like Lady C has a question. She says, any preventative maintenance recommended for small boats in the winter? I guess that's how do you do yours?
Yeah, good question. I don't winterize my boat. One of the best maintenance you can do for a boat in the winter is just keep it running. If you're not going to winterize it, keep the engine down, tilted down. Don't have it tilted up so water can kind of settle anywhere. Keep it down so it can drain, and just run it. Even once a week, twice a week, or once every 2 weeks if you can. Boats want to run. They don't want to sit there. They're like cars. They don't want to sit there. Make sure, if you have water lines and stuff like that, freshwater lines, maybe those are drained, or you can winterize those with, antifreeze and stuff like that. Cause you're not going to be out there hosing off the kids or whatever, in the middle of winter, but, just kind of take it down to the bare bones and go out there and still enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't hashtag whimperize my boat either.
Yeah, that's right.
Honestly, I think with the warming trend we've had over the last, a long time, it's warmer every winter. I don't know if we need it.
This year
it doesn't seem to get a harsh winter like we used to.
Yeah, this year we got 3 or 4 days that were really bad, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird last year. The creeks were way more frozen than this year, but it wasn't freezing last year, but it was like at that, I felt like 30 degrees, just like constantly. They just kind of kept them frozen last year, which made it a little tough.
Yeah. Friend of mine, in terms of the boat maintenance stuff, always recommends, and I've taken this on, is just when you get those warm days in February when it's 50 something degrees, and let's say it's a windy day in February, you go out there, put the earmuffs on your boat, start it, and let it run for a few minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
So on to, do you have any baits that you want to show off behind you for pickerel tonight?
I don't have much ready right now. I do have a couple things. These are guys at GI Jigs. Just a reminder, these are some of my favorite colors. But the kind of the lime truce, the orange eye, 3/16 for a weight. Love that.
That is the smallest one they make.
Yes. And then the pink lady, white and pink. I've talked to more and more people that even with fly fishing, that they have caught more on pink for pickerel than anything else.
Yeah.
And that is my go-to. That the pink torpedo spin from High Octanes just keeps catching me some of the biggest fish I've ever caught.
I'm going to use that torpedo spin for things other than pickerel. I mean,
absolutely.
Look at that action in the water. I mean, it's an awesome action.
Yeah, I want to make a little bit bigger one for rockfish for jigging with that blade for the
put
summer.
It on like a 4 or 5 inch with a maybe a half-ounce jig head. That would
that
would be deadly.
slow down that fall too, man. It would crush it.
Torpedo should slow down the fall more than a paddle tail should.
Yep, for sure.
Well, we are at 6:51. It is time for question of the evening. That time just flies by, but we have
it does.
M.R. Johnson with the color of the X-Rat, Kevin Williams with the approach for pickerel and low tide, and then Silas asking me if I'm going to give away the so, which question do you choose?
I like the low tide. That was a good one.
All right, Kevin, you are the winner. I meant to have a pair of hook optics handy, and I'm going to do that between shows. But I will. Let's connect, Kevin. Send an email to. I'll type it in here. Oh, there it goes. Admin at the fishing channel.net, and we will get you hooked up with a gift certificate to an optical Galleria. But thanks so much, Eddie. Hope you're.
Thank you, guys.
Any plans to get out in the water soon?
Yeah, soon. I've been February's been crazy, but yeah, I guess just do some more pickerel fishing through March, and maybe some rockfish before it closes up, and then snakehead will be here before you know it.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone
for
your questions, and see me in a few minutes. We got the the Lower Chesapeake fishing report coming on next.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it as always.
See you, buddy.